It's a big day as far as the Rafale controversy is concerned, with the Supreme Court making it clear that it wants details of the pricing of the Rafale fighter aircraft deal. Remember, India has ordered 36 Rafale fighters from France in a deal worth nearly 59,000 crore rupees. The government has all along been reluctant to reveal pricing details, and they have argued that this is confidential. However, the Supreme Court has said two things. Firstly, they have said that as far as pricing details are concerned, share it with us, the Supreme Court, in a sealed envelope. But as far as the larger issue of actually revealing details of this in public are concerned, the Supreme Court seemed to say that if the government has an objection on the public release of details on pricing, then they need to file an affidavit, and then the court would examine that affidavit and decide whether or not pricing details could be revealed. One way or the other, many people would say that today's developments in the Supreme Court are a setback for the government, but by no means is there a resolution to this controversy.
Submit details of the pricing of the Rafale aircraft deal in 10 days. That was the order of the Chief Justice of India to the government. With this, the Supreme Court is effectively looking at all controversial aspects of the deal, the process through which India placed the order in the first place, to the manner in which the government negotiated the Rs 58,000 crore deal. Significantly, the Supreme Court today told the government that it wants details of the Indian partner. This refers to the Anil Ambani Reliance Defence, which is the joint venture partner of Dassault, the French designer of the Rafale. Critics of Reliance have argued that they were unfairly favoured by the Indian government when the deal was being discussed by the Prime Minister in Paris. The court also wanted legitimate details of the deal which can be made public be given to the petitioners. However, the Supreme Court also made it clear that a CBI inquiry, something demanded by the petitioners, was not being ordered at the moment, and that classified aspects of the capabilities of the Rafale need not be disclosed. Responding to an argument by the Attorney General K.K. Venugopal that price details of the Rafale jet were confidential and could not be disclosed in public, the Supreme Court ruled that if that was the case, then an affidavit needed to be filed in the court, which would then be examined. The petitioners insist price details are not a secret.
Has it not been diluted?
No. On the contrary, he said you say that on the affidavit, that the confidentiality clause relates only to technical specifications, not to the price.
The case now comes up on the 14th of November.
The top court not only wants to know the pricing of the deal, but also advantage of the deal. And it's a major embarrassment to the government. In New Delhi, Arunachalam Vaidyanathan, NDTV.
Well, joining us now, Adil Singh Bopura of the Congress Party. Thanks very much for being with us. Deshratan Nigam of the senior lawyer, someone who's close to the RSS. Also joining us, Commodore G.J. Singh, the defense analyst. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us. Adil, would you say that today is a victory as far as the Congress Party is concerned? In terms of the pricing details, which will now have to be submitted to the court. The reason I say so is because earlier on, the Supreme Court had not asked for pricing details. They'd only asked for procedure, which was submitted by the government.
Well, Vishnuji, firstly, I think it's a vindication of what the Congress Party has been saying all along. And this bolsters the demand for a joint parliamentary committee. Point number one. Point number two, on the last day, the Supreme Court has said that the pricing should not be disclosed. Certainly, it appears that the Supreme Court has gone through the petition and has seen that there is reason to believe that there is something amiss in this deal. And that's the reason why they've directed the government to disclose the pricing. Now, let's come to the nub of the matter. The scam here is in the arbitrary fixation of the pricing of the jet, and the second part is in the selection of the offset contract. Now, one thing is clear after President Hollande's revelation that Anil Ambani was Mr. Modi's nominee, and the French saw this as a quid pro quo, that if they wanted the Rafale deal, then Anil Ambani had to be given a 30,000 crore rupee contract.
But it's never been 30,000 crores. Why does the Congress Party keep saying that?
Well, the total offset contract is for an amount of 30,000.
But that doesn't go to Anil Ambani
You have to understand, you have to see the larger issue, Vishnuji. A company with zero prior defense experience, incorporated 2 weeks before this deal was announced, is given a contract of a mammoth nature.
Which Indian company has done defense offsets in aerospace before they started?
Why not HAL? Eric Trappier on the 25th
No, but which
of
private
March,
company? Now, DPP 2016 and DPP was always designed to bring in the private sector, go beyond Hindustan Aeronautics.
No.
Hindustan Aeronautics may be great, But what's wrong with Indian private sector companies? And to which your argument is that, look, this company doesn't have aerospace experience. That might be correct. But do any of the other companies which are involved in the aerospace offsets business, have they also designed fighter aircraft? Can you name me one private company
was there
in
a
India?
tender? Was there a transparent policy to select the offset partner? But let me go further. On the 25th of March, Eric Trappier says that we are going to be collaborating with HAL. On the 8th of April, Foreign Secretary says that the Rafale is not on the platter, not on the agenda of the Prime Minister's meeting.
So what transpired in between?
On the 10th, suddenly the Prime Minister, after a tea meeting with the French Premier, announces that we have the Rafale deal, and the French give an offset contract of 30,000 crore rupees to Anil Ambani.
No, but it's not to Anil Ambani. This is the key point that
well,
you
this is
get
Reliance
wrong.
Defense.
No,
if this is not corruption, what else is corruption?
The total value of offsets.
Anil Ambani
the Anil Ambani group gets a percentage of that.
It's a significant
as does
component.
Safran and MDBA and other companies as
But
well. Why
Anil
do you
Ambani,
keep targeting one company with a number? That's inaccurate.
Anil Ambani gets a significant share of an offset contract. And this is
otherwise
where the
it just
scam
becomes
is.
political rhetoric.
What capability, caliber did Anil Ambani demonstrate for Mr. Modi to push him to the French and for the French to give him this contract?
Deshratan Nigam, this is the point that a lot of us who've been observing the deal have been saying from day one. Why is the government so reluctant to talk about pricing details? What is secret about prices? Its capabilities, radio frequencies, infrared spectrum, these are things which are classified. The price is not classified. So therefore, now did it really require the Supreme Court to turn around and say, prices, you have to give it to us? And who knows, the Supreme Court can easily turn around and say, release it to the public as well. So why can't the government talk about prices? It's already going to CNAG.
See, no, it's fine. Let me answer one by one. I wish there was a specialist spokesperson from the Congress who would have had the clear idea about this deal, and because there was a clear misrepresentation of facts by Adil on this issue. And about prices, government is relying in clause 10 of the intergovernmental agreement, and because of that, they are saying that they cannot disclose a price. Supreme Court has very clearly asked them, but still relying on this international treaty between two sovereign countries, Government of India will still be within its right not to disclose it, and they can file affidavit to that regard. And even otherwise also, if you look at the order, no notice has been issued by Supreme Court. So this order amounts to fishing and roving inquiry, and this order is trying to do from the back door what it cannot do from the front door. So I think there is a patent illegality of this order also. And secondly, about the offset contracts that Adil is talking about, it is only a small component of 30,000 crore, and 30,000 crore is spread over large number of vendees. And secondly, when it says about tender and that there was no tender floated, this was between Dassault and Ambani's. It is Dassault's prerogative whom to choose and whom not to choose, whether they want to do it through a tender process of investment in India or do not want to do it. It is entirely the prerogative of the vendor Dassault.
Okay, so, and couple of points I want to...
Let us be... No, one more. And this order also undermines the authority and independence of CAG, which is the first right to audit and investigate a deal in terms of...
I mentioned the point also about CNAG. I take that point. Commodore GJ Singh, and I'll come back to you, Adil, in a moment from now. The larger point over here is that as far as the Indian Air Force is concerned, they are no closer to seeing an end to this. So as a former armed forces officer yourself, can you tell us what this means for the Indian Air Force? The fact that the Supreme Court is now going to be analyzing each and every aspect of this deal, from pricing to offsets to what have you, what does that mean for an Air Force which is desperately short of numbers in squadron strength?
We should see the choice that Rafale is the choice of the Air Force was, there's some echo, can you please correct it?
Yeah, we'll try and fix that echo, and we'll come back to you in a moment. Is that better now?
The choice, the choice of the aircraft, that Rafale is the choice of the Air Force was given to the government in around 2000, 2001. In 2008, we started the process. Today is 2018, and the aircraft's delivery is going to be in 2022. And we have selection year. What happens in 2019, nobody knows. So therefore, the Air Force continues to suffer from the lack of squadrons. The squadron, as everybody knows, its strength has depleted from 45 to 31 or 32 squadrons. And in the event of any external aggression or any emergency, Indian Air Force will find very difficult to defend the Indian skies. And I must say today's order further has dented the image of the government, because if you could contrast the order which was by the CJI on 10th of October to the Attorney General, saying that we only want the steps which have led to the contract of these 36 aircrafts, the steps which are involved
Yes.
in the decision making. They were only interested in this part. Today, we find that they are asking the pricing of the aircraft,
Yeah,
the
but-
pricing details.
But they are
saying, in
asking
fact,
because the
division of
Supreme
these
Court is allowed to
documents-
ask for it.
the
What's
division
wrong
of
with the Supreme
documents-
Court asking for anything?
Yeah. No, but this, the very fact by itself,
Vishnu, can I come in?
Supreme Court of India asking the government to submit the details by itself is a damaging step to the government.
No,
But the
it
very
is.
fact that
It possibly is. But Adil, let me come to you next.
The country,
Right, sir.
by itself,
One
I'm
moment,
saying.
sir. I want to go across to my other panelists. Adil, there is no CBI inquiry so far. The petitioners in this case today, of course, had demanded a CBI inquiry, number one. Number two, there is nothing as yet in terms of a ruling by the Supreme Court as far as the procedural aspects of the deal were concerned, which is what details of which were submitted by the government the last time around. So, this nothing that has happened thus far, those close to the government would argue, would in any way indicate that this is not going to be favorable to the government. How would you
Well, let me
how would
answer
you
that.
counter
Let me
that?
answer that. On the first state, with regard to the other petition, the Supreme Court says that pricing need not be disclosed. They've moved further to say, based on the material before them, then pricing is necessary and should be disclosed. Let me respond to what Mr. Nigam has said. Technical, as far as the confidentiality clause is concerned, that extends to technical details. Let's be very clear, this is a country which is governed by the rule of law. This is taxpayers' money. You can't claim confidentiality when it comes to money flowing out of the public exchequer. And I expected Mr. Nigam as a lawyer to know this better. Point number two, let's join the dots here. There is a midnight coup when it comes to the CBI director. There was a complaint pending with the CBI director on the Rafale issue. The Prime Minister and others in the government anticipated some action, and there is circumstantial evidence now to indicate that just to foreclose that and to put an end to that process, to interdict that CBI investigation, the government does a midnight coup. Now, I think the puzzle is becoming much clearer. It was hazy earlier.
Okay.
The CBI director's ouster and the Rafale has a direct nexus, and I think the Prime Minister has much to explain. They cannot any longer deny the demand for a joint parliamentary committee. This is one of the biggest defense scams in the history of independent India, and the Prime Minister is solely responsible because he was the one who pushed Anil Ambani when it comes to the offset partner.
Deshratan Nigam, would you like to answer that? That, you know, I mean, why not have a joint parliamentary committee if the government has nothing to hide? Then what's wrong with that?
See, you already have a check and balance mechanism in the form of CAG available to you. The money has just started. I think there will be staggered payment for
Yes.
such a deal, and at the end of the financial year, the CAG has the right to audit it, and they will go into every aspect because it is their duty and responsibility to justify. Government has to justify spending of single penny, and they also now go for social audit, which means that the money which was spent on the intended purpose, and that purpose was achieved. So this is the new aspect of audit which has been added, and in CAG. Now Supreme Court through this order doing fishing and roving inquiry may come to some conclusion
undermine the Supreme
which
Court,
may or
Nigam
may
Saab,
not
you're a
elect the
lawyer.
government.
No, but Mr. Nigam, I think
please
you're
hold on. Please hold on.
Mr.
Please,
Nigam, you might be
very
on,
weak
you might
Supreme
be
Court
on
has its
dangerous
own
ground
limitation.
there. You've made a
Let
couple
me
of
speak.
references,
Let
Mr.
me
Nigam,
speak.
to the
Let me
Supreme
speak.
Court. I would suggest you be careful on that.
Let me speak.
Yes.
I am talking about order of the Supreme Court, and I can criticize the order of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but by saying the Supreme Court is going on some sort of fishing expedition, I'm not sure that
attributing
could be
motives.
said. I think
No,
that's
this order. No, this order. No. I'm saying this order. This order is some kind of a fishing and roving inquiry.
Unbelievable.
Now, suppose Supreme Court passes some kind of an order, which reaches some kind of a conclusion that would jeopardize the fair and transparent audit by the CAG. That
All
is
right.
what
Well, I think
my short point is, and CAG is a constitutional point.
all right. Well, one way or the other,
body.
if there is an order as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, this is moving on a relatively fast-track basis. It comes up in just a couple of days from now. In fact, 10 days. The pricing details have to be given, and one way or the other, this is something where we might know where this is going, possibly even before that CNAG report comes out. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us. It's an important day today as far as the transparency process in the Rafale deal is concerned. I'd like to thank all of you very much for being with us.